So
People are gonna
you,
rig it anyways, like it's gonna happen. But I can tell you my experience is like since I started like applying and working in the embedded domain, I have never been asked a lead code question ever. Even the online assessment I was asked, it was very specific. And it was like very specific to like what the day-to-day job would be, which I actually enjoyed, because I was like, no, don't give me another graph question, linked list question, but they gave me something that was very much like close to what I would be doing at that role.
Yeah.
So I really appreciated that. And I think a lot of these roles are coming up and it's going to change by the time.
yeah, I think today with how good and powerful LLMs have gotten, one thing that could potentially transform or replace a lead code style of interviews is using LLMs to synthetically generate questions and give take-home assignments. So that
Mm-hmm.
Right.
you don't give the same assessment for every single candidate. LLMs synthetically generate new versions of the same problem, worded differently, so to confuse the candidate. They don't look up online and find a solution automatically. We
Mm,
could replace this with lead code and give actual day in the life of an engineer at so and so company. What would it be like to
right.
solve a bug? What would it be like to
Correct.
handle a deployment? Those kind of questions could potentially change lead code style of interviews.
Yeah,
Yeah.
and also like since the headcount, they are reducing the headcount, I would say like that's a better way to interview rather
Assess.
than just give like a lead code question, medium or hard, with
Yeah.
someone
Screw
with
that.
like, yeah, someone can like hack that and like get into that position and then they find themselves in PIP and then they will be laid off. So why do you want to do that? Just spend some time like, just assessing the candidate properly.
But
Yeah.
what I'd also say is that now your senior talent, you might be able to get 10x out of them. So why hire new people if you can get more out of the people who already know your company, like your company, and like can take you to the next level? So one unique idea I have is like, what if instead of having junior engineers, because like junior engineers cost the company money, like you
Yes.
make a salary, but then all these resources get put onto you so that they can get you producing at the level that they want you to. And for juniors, like it's never going to really work out. At mid level, it's going to start paying off a little bit. And then at senior level, you're really worth your weight in gold. So, what my thought is that what if every senior was to get their own juniors and they have some juniors who are responsible for doing design engineering, some juniors who are responsible for QA and like having like very robust, like, hey, I'm going to do the first, I'll do the first 80% of the work, then I'll throw it off to someone else. Like, and then that person will do a whole lot, and then it'll just get passed over to QA. They'll loop through in QA quite a bit and then pop anything back up to the senior in case they're like, hey, what should happen here? Then the senior's like, it should be this. That senior has a dedicated junior. That person does it. And then the junior and QA work on it till the senior's like, looks good, so gets signed off by someone else, gets merged into prod. I think structures are going to look entirely different now. So,
Definitely.
I mean, that's one of the big reasons why I didn't want to go back into the field and be a software engineer per se, but actually just be shipping code and follow the commercial open source model. So I guess, to kind of wrap up things, like the DeepSeek moment, it's so important and special because what it proves about how we were operating from the wrong lens for a long time, focusing on pre-training. And now every company is going to have to change their commitments. So, like, I remember, Satya was on TV, and Satya, the CEO of Microsoft, and they were like, Elon says that Stargate, the $500 billion deal between SoftBank and the Trump administration to invest deeply in AI in America, Elon was like, hey, look, like there's no financing here. Then Satya goes on TV and goes, I don't know what Elon's talking about, but I'm good for my 80 billion. Then the deep seek moment happened. Then after that, Satya was no longer good for his 80 billion. It said that Microsoft reneged. And part of what I'm thinking is that, okay, this means that there's a fundamental supply chain shift, there's a fundamental macroeconomic shift. I know engineers around the world have really been suffering since America went into a recession in 2022 and interest rates started rising. We saw an immediate impact on the industry. But I think that we'll see how this year kind of shakes out. But I think around 2026, we're going to see more hiring for a lot more generalists in the field. I think that there's going to be a lot more opportunities for people to focus on the long tail of like getting deployments out there for new applications, and then also helping companies with like, more micro SaaS and vertical AI agents, and like, the tool chains that the LLMs are going to be using. And I don't actually think that you need to know linear algebra for this stuff. I think that for this, we can just come back to computer programming first principles, focus on that, as well as the prompts layer, get things done, and then organizations will restructure themselves to probably be very QA heavy, be very senior heavy, and then have like a fleet of like juniors who can just be like very disposable and ephemeral, um, and come in and out in that process. And that's one of the big bets that we're making at Just Ship It around this stuff. Um, so I guess that really wraps things up. Um, this was an amazing conversation. We need to do this multiple times a week. This was such a refreshing, good conversation. I think the next time that we get together, we should probably spike on something open source, maybe something centered around like, because I think
Post
Buzz is
training.
definitely right about distribution. So it would be good to do something in distribution for open source, but do something pretty non-obvious. Um, and so I'll message you guys privately about that, and then maybe we'll spike on like on a pairing session, and then get that out next. But thank you guys.
Yep,
Yeah.
sounds good.
You want to
Cool.
stop recording?